The story of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar is part of a much larger narrative that began in the early 1960s, shaped by national tragedy, shifting public sentiment, and the evolution of modern American coinage. The coin itself traces its origins to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22, 1963, an event that shook the entire nation and created an immediate desire to honor the late president in a dignified, lasting way. Within days of the tragedy, discussions began in Washington about creating a circulating coin bearing Kennedy's likeness. The half-dollar denomination was chosen, both because it carried national significance and because it allowed for a larger portrait that could capture the president's image with dignity. The design process moved rapidly. The obverse featuring the profile of JFK, created by Gilroy Roberts, and the reverse featuring the presidential seal designed by Frank Gasparro were approved with unusual speed, allowing the first Kennedy half-dollars to enter production in early 1964. The public response was overwhelming as people lined up outside banks to obtain the new coins, often saving them as keepsakes rather than spending them, contributing to an immediate shortage. Despite continued production, the demand far exceeded circulation needs. By 1974, the Kennedy half-dollar had already become an established part of American currency, but its role in everyday commerce had continued to diminish. Throughout the late 1960s, silver coinage disappeared from circulation as people hoarded and removed coins containing the intrinsic value of silver. The original 1964 Kennedy half-dollar contained 90% silver, but starting in 1965, composition was reduced to a clad mixture with only 40% silver. Even that limited silver content was removed after 1970, resulting in the 1974 half-dollar being made from standard copper nickel-clad metal, similar to quarters and dimes of the time. The 1974 issue is significant because it reflects a moment in the evolution of U.S. coinage when the country had fully transitioned away from silver for circulating half-dollars. This coin, therefore, represents a shift from precious metals to modern base metal coinage and a period when half-dollars were rarely used in everyday transactions. In 1974, 3 mints produced Kennedy half-dollars: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark. Denver coins featured the D mint mark, and San Francisco struck both proof coins and collectible versions with the S-mark mintages were high because the U.S. Mint still hoped that the half-dollar might return to everyday use. Philadelphia struck well over 50 million pieces and Denver over 70 million, while the San Francisco Mint issued millions of proofs for collectors. Even with such high production numbers, most 1974 Kennedy halves did not circulate heavily. Instead, they accumulated in bank vaults and were often purchased in rolls by collectors, or saved as mementos by the public. The coins that did circulate often remained in relatively good condition because the denomination was seldom used for daily purchases. The design of the 1974 coin remained consistent with earlier years. On the obverse, the left-facing profile of John F. Kennedy stands as a symbol of leadership optimism and the youthful energy associated with his presidency. The reverse showcases the heraldic eagle based on the presidential seal clutching arrows and an olive branch symbolizing war and peace, surrounded by a ring of stars. This powerful imagery reinforced themes of national pride and continuity during a decade marked by political and economic challenges. The early 1970s were a turbulent time in the United States, with issues such as inflation, the after-effects of the Vietnam War, and political scandals affecting public confidence. The continued presence of the Kennedy half-dollar in pockets and collections served as a quiet reminder of earlier aspirations of unity and idealism. One of the key reasons the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar continues to attract attention today is the existence of certain varieties and special characteristics. While most 1974 coins are common, a small number display striking anomalies. Among the best known is the 1974 D double die obverse variety, which features noticeable doubling in inscriptions such as "In God," "We Trust," and the date. Although rare, this variety is highly sought after by numismatists. Another point of collector interest is the mistaken belief that a 1974 silver half-dollar exists. In reality, no circulating silver Kennedy half-dollars were struck in 1974, but rumors persist due to confusion with 1970 and 1965 to 1970 silver-clad issues, and with 1976 bicentennial silver sets. The excitement around these supposed errors has added mystique to the 1974 date. The half-dollar as a denomination gradually fell out of mainstream use during the 1970s as Americans shifted preference toward dollar, bills, quarters, and eventually electronic transactions. This decline meant that the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar became more of a collectible item than a workhorse coin. Yet its significance remained strong among coin collectors who appreciate the historical context, design artistry, and political symbolism encapsulated in each piece. The Kennedy half-dollar series also became a popular way for new collectors to begin their hobby. Because the design is familiar, the coins are easily recognized, and the series spans major transitions in U.S. minting metals and history. By the end of the 1970s, although production continued, the half-dollar rarely circulated at all. Most banks stocked them only on request, and many Americans assumed they were made exclusively for collectors. Over time, this reinforced the idea of the half-dollar as a special coin tied more to historical memory than to commerce. The 1974 issue remains one of the more plentiful and accessible dates, yet its story connects directly to changes in American culture, economics, and monetary policy. The coin serves as a snapshot of the era, showing how national events and public sentiment can shape even the smallest objects of daily life. In reviewing the legacy of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, we see how it bridges the gap between the initial passion surrounding the Kennedy memorial coinage of the 1960s and the slow decline of the half-dollar in regular circulation. Its composition marks the completion of the transition away from silver. Its design honors a president whose image became an enduring symbol of hope, and its collectability reflects generations of interest from people who saved these coins in jars, drawers, and albums. The history of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar therefore stands as both a tribute to an American leader and a reflection of the evolving story of United States coinage, a story that continues shaping collector interest and national memory to this day.